Welcome to Facebook Live with FITWITMD and our very special guest, the Princess Promise, better known as Sophia Vicari. I'm very excited to host her. Here at FITWITMD, we're here to celebrate our IBD community. That means patients, advocates, families, caregivers, doctors, dietitians, nurses, PAs, our entire community. We're hoping to come together, interview, and learn everyone's stories about how we contribute to making the lives of Crohn's and colitis patients better. Stay tuned for the show. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Nandi, FITWITMD, and here on this latest live series that we have today, I'm hoping that we can showcase some of our amazing IBD community leaders and the difference they make in the lives of our Crohn's and ulcerative colitis patients. I'm an academic gastroenterologist based here in Philadelphia, and I'm really lucky that in my daily work, I get to interact with amazing patient IBD advocates. And one of those amazing and special people is Sophia Vicari. So Sophia is better known as the Princess Promise. That's her social media handle. This is she and I at one of our galas here in the Philadelphia area. She's been a longtime advocate and is a patient advocate who is a superstar. You'll see what I mean. She's a superstar and a superhero. The Princess Promise, as you can see from her beautiful logo here, is an advocacy website that interviews doctors and other healthcare givers in the IBD space. You can actually check out her webpage at theprincesspromise.wixsite.com/The Princess Promise. So let's get right to it. Let's go ahead and meet Sophia. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's our absolute pleasure. Thank you for being on the show. This is a new endeavor, and I'm really excited that you can be a part of the entire program. So, Sophia, you have been, a very unique person, right? You took it on your own to develop the Princess Promise. How did the Princess Promise come about?
Yeah, well, thank you for the compliment. Unique is a really great way to describe it, because usually princesses and poop aren't usually in the same conversation, and that was exactly why I started it. I like to credit the winning combination of Jesus and prednisone, because after my diagnosis, I couldn't sit still and I couldn't move. And I really felt that there needed to be a space for positivity. Of course, after I started my blog, I discovered a whole bunch of positive IBD blogs. So I'm not alone in this space. But the angle I wanted to take was redefining what the word princess means. And the Princess Promise is an actual promise, and it's for women with IBD. And the promise is that no matter what we experience, we are still princesses. I come from a pageant background. I was my town's Miss Magnolia back in 2012, and I didn't get diagnosed until the end of 2016. And throughout my flare and my diagnosis process, I really felt unfeminine, unhuman. I had no dignity left after telling nurse after doctor after nurse after doctor what was wrong with me, trying to figure it out, and all of the unfeminine symptoms that came with it, like frequent body diarrhea and things that you don't expect a princess to have. And so I really had to dig deep within myself and redefine what it meant to be a princess, and I had to accept the new me, accept the me with IBD, and accept the fact that I could still be a princess even though I used the bathroom, because newsflash, everybody uses the bathroom, some more than others. And the Princess Promise has since grown into this humorous, hopefully inspirational and educational social media blog, and I am so grateful that it brought me to people like you.
Well, thank you, Sophia. But it is all of those and more. I think that the work that you've done, has been fantastic. If you're watching and tuning in, when you watch her videos, she's full of humor, full of life, just full of energy. I wish I had like one little bit of what you have in your pinky. I wish I could have. But you bring such light and humor, and I think it's really needed. And you hit on something important there, which is going through those symptoms, the pain, the anguish, not just the physical, but the mental and emotional. That's really hard for anybody of any gender. And there's certain stigmas, about talking about poop in our culture that I know just sitting on your throne right there that you smash, right? Boom.
Yes.
And
my mom gave me this. My family's been very supportive. My mom gave me this poop plunger, and a friend gave me these toilet earrings. And gotta love it, gotta embrace it.
Well, I think we both have a healthy toilet sense of humor. So tell me, was there anything in particular, that helped you get through those times? Were there people in your life or things that you did to help get through the beginning of your diagnosis?
Yeah, I think one of the things for me was that I grew up for the most part, happy person, very bubbly. I was a theater kid. People sort of had this expectation of me to always have a smile on, and so I kind of pushed I didn't really know what to think after my diagnosis. I was angry with God, I was angry with myself. I'm the first in my family to have this, so I felt like I was starting from square one. And I found through the kindness of others, so I came to a place where I was not angry with God, because the people at church were so kind to me and very supportive and helping me when I found out I had to get treatment that involved needles. And I found deeper friendships than I ever could have imagined. Yes, I lost some friendships because I was very open about talking about it, and some people aren't comfortable with that. And you sort of realize who your real friends are in those moments. And my best friend from college, Erica, she has 2 autoimmune diseases. And so we really bonded over the fact that our bodies are overachievers in the immune system department. And so I don't like to say overreact. I like to say my immune system overachieves, because I am a former honors kid. So, it's a lot branding. And just the kindness of others reminding me that I have value and that I'm not burdened really helped me accept that myself. And it's an ongoing journey, honestly.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that you had your friend, right? You have your family, and you have a friend who kind of had some perspective on what you were going through, and that's really important, right? And I think when I think of why I, as a doc, am part of Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in Philly's community, that's the word, right? Community, right? We have a support network, and inflammatory bowel disease, as is not rare, right? We have 3.2 million Americans who have inflammatory bowel disease in a country of 300 million. It's not rare. But it's not uncommon for people not to know someone else. So having a friend, and if you don't have it, is helpful, but if you don't have a friend, reaching out to one of our support groups, to one of our communities through Crohn's and Colitis Foundation is really helpful. I got to show you something. We have some fans. Emily Cohen says, Sophia, love that you're on the toilet. Haha, you are adorable. That's just wonderful. And Rachel says, I believe it's her throne. And she is right. Game of Thrones, right? So you've got some fans out there who watch you.
So you gotta own it. You gotta control the narrative. If you're afraid of people making fun of you for this big secret, this stinky secret that you have, my advice, own it. Control that narrative, and show your butt who's boss.
Exactly. Show your butt who's boss. That's right. That should be a bumper sticker right there, I think. What do you guys think? Yeah. So we got some agreement there. Well, I think that what you're doing with the Princess Promise is extremely helpful. I think you're a wonderful role model for both women and men. So I think it's not gender specific, but a lot of what you're doing, in my opinion, does help young women of any age, honestly, kind of rise above the social tabooness of talking about poop. So I think that what you're doing is extremely powerful. Now, another thing that you're doing that's extremely powerful is raising money for Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. How are you doing that? Can you tell us?
Yeah, I'm relying on the kindness of others. So I've been furloughed since the beginning of April, and it took my state's unemployment department weeks to get me what I needed. So I haven't been as, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but I haven't been as open with my fundraising as of late. But I do mention it to people like, hey, we're having this walk, we're going to do this. So it's more about those one-on-one relationships for me this year, as opposed to the widespread posting about it. So it's been an interesting year for me, because I'm very used to posting on my page all the time about the walk and bringing it up that way. But not being in a classroom, not being in an office setting, it has definitely stretched me in my creativity this year, and I think it'll help me be a more well-rounded fundraiser in the future, hopefully. So It's more about the one-on-one relationships for me this year.
No, I think that's really important. This has been a strange year to say the least. 2020, that's an understatement. 2020 is a year unlike any other, we'll all say and agree. And the way society is shaped, it's really hard to ask people for donations and research funds. But it is important that we continue the good fight. A lot of the research, a lot of health and illness, a lot of illness is being related back to the intestine and the gut. And it's illnesses like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis that are the epitome of how diet and the immune system and the microbiome all synergize to make illness happen. So we need to do the research. There's no way around it. So we know it's hard to ask, but if you have $1, you have a $2, know that money, 82 cents of every dollar, goes right towards research. I flashed up on the screen for you guys Sophia's Facebook page, facebook.com/The Princess Promise, and you can find links to her donation team. You can donate right through Facebook. It goes right into the nonprofit charity directly, and rest assured that money will go to very good use.
And think about the great toilet paper panic of 2020, and when everyone was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get toilet paper? It's sold out in stores. That's how we feel every day. We are so dependent on the toilet paper, so imagine that panic times 10, and that's what you get in a flare, and that's why it's so important. And so if you're working from home and you're not stopping at Dunkin' Donuts for an iced tea every morning, then maybe a week's worth of iced teas is what you can donate. Who knows? But supporting by raising awareness, raising funds, we are grateful for any and everything.
All of it. And actually, so Noah actually says, gosh, I want to be like both of you when I grow up. I say that as a 27-year-old. Ha ha. So, we've gotten to learn a little bit about you and your story. Again, that's just a snapshot into the history that is the phenomenon known as the Princess Promise. But I'm eternally grateful that you were able to share with us and our community here a little bit of insight into how you came to be the Princess Promise. Because you're always Sophia Vicari, the strong woman that we all know in Philadelphia. But to know that you've been able to give the Princess Promise a life of its own, an educational resource to empower other people through social media education, that's a lasting legacy to leave. So I'm getting pretty serious on you, but I think that what you're doing is just amazing. Okay?
It's going to be possible without doctors like you volunteering your time. I know you've done, as my educational videos are called Comments on Colons, which is a little bit of phone flags from the Big Theory, don't see me. And we have doctors, my infusion nurse Donna, we have Dr. Nandi, we have Dr. Frankel, we've got a bunch of different amazing minds that volunteer their time, and I'm so grateful because it wouldn't be possible without you guys.
100%. I want to share with everybody that we have the Take Steps for Crohn's and Colitis virtual program that's going to be happening very soon. This coming Saturday, June 20th, 2020, from 11:15 to 9:15. And I'm trying to unlock a few things here so you guys can actually see the program. There we are. I was blocking up the photo, but June 20th, 2020 at 11:15 a.m. on Facebook Live at Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. We're going to be streaming live. Preston Elliott from The Morning Show, Preston and Steve Morning Show, will be emceeing. I'll be also co-hosting there too. And we'll have some amazing guests that you guys can tune in and hear. We have some amazing talent, some great singers and bands, and also our honored heroes of the year, Jenna and Michael Zapetti. So with that, I want to say, Sophia, thank you so much for for coming here this evening tonight. I'm looking forward to doing some more educational videos with you. And any parting words for our audience as we peace out?
Just remember that we are working to eradicate the stigma of IBD, and we could use all of your help, whether you're a patient or a caregiver or a friend or a lover of toilet earrings. We all have a role to play in eradicating IBD stigma. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's my pleasure, Sophia. It really is. One last comment from the bowel battling badass. She goes, "I love your plunger." I think you should sell those on eBay. Okay. All right, very good. Well, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Nandi. I hope to do more of these with our entire IBD community. If you have ideas, you have questions, you have any perspectives or stories you want to share, message me at FITWITMD on Facebook, social media, Instagram, Twitter. I answer them eventually, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you again for tuning in tonight. Please remember, there's no unity without community. We're here in this together. Please donate to the cause. Let's take steps together to cure Crohn's and colitis. Thank you so much, and have a good night.